Howdy, folks. I'm back with another documentary courtesy of funRonni. So, Ronnie, thank you for this. I've got a playlist that I started about 6 weeks ago or so, a documentary playlist where I react to documentaries. And this one is of Ernest Tubb. You saw the title, and this is part 1 of 4. And it's an hour-long documentary. I haven't seen any of it. And Ronnie made a gift to the channel for me to do this. So Ronnie, thank you for the gift. And this is what Ronnie said. She said, I hope you enjoy this. He was a one-of-a-kind gentleman that always helped the newcomers. I respect that. I know he helped Loretta, so I'm grateful to him. Side note, Ronnie is Loretta Lynn's worldwide #1 fan. So it makes sense that she would go back and do an Ernest biography. Not just for his sake, but for Loretta's. I was sad to see so few of his songs on your channel, so I sent in a few with Loretta. That's what Ronnie had written, and it is true. I've done 3 or 4 duets of Ernest and Loretta, and they were incredible and just beautiful, well done. And so I love doing this on the channel. The history of traditional country music is so rich, it's so deep, it's so expansive, it's so extensive, even across the pond, going into Ireland and Scotland and the UK and such, and the instrumentation brought over and how it was infused into early American history, and then folk, and then it grew into now it's bro country out of Nashville, but the traditional country is what we do here, and Ernest was a big player in that. So let's see what we've got. I'm looking forward to this. This was done in 1987. Ernest was born in Crisp, Texas. I looked that up. He passed away in Nashville in 1970, so this biography was done 17 years after his passing.
When the bubble burst in 1929, America became gripped in the vice of a Great Depression. In the cities, once thriving factories were closing down, throwing millions out of work. There were next to no jobs, little food, and even less hope. The bluesy yodels of Jimmy Rogers captured the despair of the troubled times. His simple, skeletal music was as sparse and lean as the desperate men who rode the rails in search of work.
Skeletal. Wow, what a word.
Life in the heartland of America was even more devastating and heartbreaking. But out of the poor farm country of the Southwest came a man destined to be a country music giant. Ernest Tubb, the Texas Troubadour.
Texas Troubadour.
I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two.
I'm seeing new names. Some. Oh, there's Tom.
You left me and you went away. You said that you'd be back in just a day. You've broken your promise and you left me here alone. I don't know why you did, dear, but I do know that you're gone. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you.
Alan and Calvin Tubb were scratching out a meager living on a farm about 35 miles southeast of Dallas when their 5th child, Ernest, was born on February 9th, 1914.
Wow.
Little remains of the small farming community other than the road sign, and long gone is the simple frame farmhouse where Ernest Tubb was born.
We were just a farm family, and we worked, excuse the expression, we worked like hell on the farm. And
it was back during the worst part of depression. Oh, everything was tight. It was rough then. So we would pick cotton, as most everybody did, from the young to the old and the in-between. Well, Ernest had a voice, even at that age, tremendous voice.
I know one thing, when we were supposed to be picking cotton, and we didn't, my daddy would come in and give us all a whipping but him, and he'd say, well, he's the baby, and he'd have worked if the rest had. So he never got the spanking like we did, the whipping.
He didn't like to pick cotton. He'd get out on the row where the cotton was tall, and that's when CR would get him. He'd get out on the row and lay down on his sack, And he told me one day, he said, there's bound to be an easier way of making a living than this. So he finally found it.
Following the divorce of his parents, 16-year-old Ernest went to live with his sister and brother-in-law in Haskell, Texas.
Ernest got the mully grubs, and he says, I'm going to San Antonio. That's where his mother lived. Now, I said, what do you mean you're going to San Antonio? You haven't got a dime in your pocket. How are you going? He said, I want to hitchhike. Well, I said, I've got $5. That's all I've got. But I won't pay you bus fare, but at least it'll buy you a sandwich on the way. Well, he went, and he was gone all that day and the next night, and sometime the next day he showed up at the front door with a guitar. I said, Ernest, what in the world are you going to do with that dumb guitar? Of course, he never fired out, he never picked up one. So I'm going to learn to play it.
Playing and singing in the style of his idol Jimmie Rodgers became an obsession for the young Ernest.
All right, so wait, he took that $5 and bought a guitar with it instead? I didn't pick up on whether he showed up at his mother's house or not in San Antonio.
Who was shattered when Rodgers died in 1933. There and then, Ernest decided that he would become the next Jimmie Rodgers.
The first time I saw Ernest, I was about 13, I think. And I saw this big, tall cowboy come walking down the street. He had a big hat, and boot, and a big red shirt on, long sleeve, I thought, well, it must be Gene Autry or somebody back then.
By the time Ernest was 20, he was singing for free on local radio and performing in person for $1 a night plus tips. In 1934, he married Elaine Cook, a waitress he met at a local drive-in. With a child soon on the way, Ernest took a job at a San Antonio drugstore, but continued to pursue his dream of becoming a professional singer.
He'd gotten in touch somehow with a radio station, KONO, and he'd ride his bicycle before daylight right up to KONO and sing 15 minutes. And of course, he would gather quite an audience. One day, Miss Jimmie Rodgers heard him singing, and she called him and said, Ernest, I heard you sing on KONO, and you sound so much like my husband. She said, I think you have great possibilities. I would like to do something for you.
She invited him out to her house, and she liked his singing, and she says, Ernest, Jimmie is dead and gone, and you're trying to copy him. All you're doing is reminding people about Jimmie Rodgers. She said, create your own style of singing and go for Ernest Tubb.
Mrs. Rodgers became instrumental in Ernest's early career. She gave him Jimmie's beloved Martin D45 guitar, dressed him in a tuxedo, took him on a performance tour, and got him a record deal with RCA Victor, for whom he recorded a song written by Mrs. Rodgers' sister.
Our beloved America.
Neither the tour or the record amounted to much, and RCA eventually lost interest. Ernest soon found himself back on radio, this time in San Angelo.
I had gone there to ask for a job, try to get a job as an announcer, and I was just a kid. And they said, well, the station manager told me, he said, I've got this fella in here that we're trying to build into a star. We're trying to get him up to the point to where we can promote him, and we think we've got a diamond in the rough. And it was Ernest, and he was in this studio. Now, again, I didn't meet him, but I saw him working out. And this man had him rehearsing hour after hour in there in front of a microphone to try to learn something about radio,
The practice paid off when, after much badgering, a session was arranged with the new Decca Records at Houston's Rice Hotel in April of 1940.
Many months have come and gone since you called me on the phone to tell me
Rice
that
is a good
we
school,
were
too.
through.
A growing reputation led Ernest to Fort Worth, where he became known as the Gold Chain Troubadour.
He got $25 extra for personal appearances to advertise Gold Chain Flower, and they had I think it was a white Plymouth station wagon or a panel truck it was. Had a platform on top, and he'd go to these county seats, pull in on the square, and on Saturday afternoon, everybody's in town. And he'd find a place to plug in his speakers, and he'd get up on top of that panel truck, just him and his guitar. And the people would just gather around, you know, and he would entertain them there for about an hour, you know. And he put on quite a show for one man.
He hustled.
And he drew the people.
With a career finally on the upswing, Ernest left Elaine and his young son Justin in Texas and headed for the bright lights of Hollywood to appear alongside his screen hero Charles Starrett in a forgettable B-Western titled Fighting Buckaroo.
Forgettable, he said.
Before turning his back on Hollywood, Ernest's natural acting ability led him to two more westerns, Riding West and Jamboree. His celluloid swan song would be the romantic lead with Laurie Talbot in Hollywood Barn Dance, a fictionalized account of Ernest's life story.
You know
Really?
I want you.
Just to sing?
Not exactly. I want you all the time.
Do you really?
That's what the man said. He said that. That's what the man said.
During his Hollywood career, a lonely Ernest was inspired to write and record the song that ultimately became his biggest success and got him a guest appearance on the Grand Ole Opry.
All right.
So I laid in my bed with a little radio late that Saturday night, and it had an aerial on it with a little wire that you had to hold with your hand so that you could get the station into it. It kept fading in and out, but I did manage to hear him when he sang the first night on the Opry, and sang, of course, Walking the Floor Over You, which had been his big hit record just as recently as 41 and 42. And he encored 2 or 3 times, I think. And it was a very exciting night for a 7-year-old boy, to hear his daddy go over that well on the Grand Ole Opry.
The response was so enthusiastic that Ernest was asked to return on several occasions and finally signed on as a regular member.
Question for you guys out there. When you're invited to the Opry, how long does that invitation last? Because they can withdraw it. They can pull it, right? I mean, it's not a lifetime membership or invitation. It's, I think there's a time limit on it or some kind of stipulation for it.
Now, darling, you know I love you well. Love you more than
From the dusty back roads of Texas to the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, Ernest Tubb had traveled a long and winding road in pursuit of his musical dream.
I've never known a man that had such rapport with the audience. I mean, he had them in the palm of his hand.
He had his own style, and I think that was what sold him, along with his personality.
Some artists, they seem to be playing and singing for each other, you know. But Ernest went right straight for the heart of that audience. He could size them up the instant he got out on the stage, knew exactly what they wanted, exactly how to handle them, and they loved every minute of it.
Now someday you may be lonesome too. Walking the floor is good for you.
Shortly after joining the Opry, Ernest launched a backup band called the Texas Troubadours. This ever-changing combination of musicians would grow and evolve into a virtual country music legend. For the next 40 years, the Texas Troubadours played a prominent role in every Ernest Tubb performance.
Welcome, friends and neighbors, to Country Style USA. All the Texas Troubadours and myself are mighty proud to get to pay you this little visit. Trust you will enjoy some of the songs we have on the show too for you. Right now, fellas, if you're still in the mood, let's try one called, one of our old favorites here called Will You Be Satisfied That Way? Billy? We've been
together for so long. It hurts to know your love is gone. Here's all my lonely heart can say.
All told, 107 musicians could claim the honor of being called a Texas troubadour.
I saw him come, I saw him go through him, I saw him go. And every one of them, I think, became greater, better people than they were.
I know a lot of musicians that worked for a lot of people, but I don't know anyone who respected their boss man as much as the troubadours respected Ernest Tubb.
I would not take $1 million cash for all the experience I had in the short time that I traveled with him and in the length of time that I knew Ernest Tubb, because I think he taught me more about the business than I could have ever learned in 85 years.
Unless you're a Texas troubadour, you've never done it. And I always wanted to be that. And I was for a while, and I'm so glad.
And will you be satisfied that way? Deep down inside, I love you, yeah. I've suffered, but there's no regret. Love can't be bought, it must be free. Will you be satisfied that way?
Relationships don't change.
Troubadours, if you hadn't applauded, I wouldn't have paid you this week, I'll tell you for sure.
In 1947, the Ernest Tubb Record Shop first opened its doors on Commerce Street before moving to its most famous location on Lower Broadway in downtown Nashville. It was here that Ernest started the renowned Midnight Jamboree.
I used to open that show from Nashville, Tennessee. It's Ernest Tubb's Midnight Jamboree.
Live from the Ernest Tubb Record Shop on Music Valley Drive in Nashville, Tennessee, it's the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree.
Music Valley,
Midnight
is that
Jamboree,
there?
now hosted by Justin Tubb, continues to be a country music tradition listened to by hundreds of thousands of loyal fans every Saturday night after the Grand Ole Opry. From its earliest days, it has been a valuable vehicle for showcasing new and untried talent.
I got a telegram, and it says, appear on the Ernest Tubb Record Shop. It was like October 1954. Well, I couldn't believe it. So I got there. The guy that was in charge of the record shop, whoever he was, I forgot now, he said, I don't know about you being on Ernest Tubb Record Shop. I said, hey man, I done drove all the way up from Monroe, Louisiana. I gotta be on Ernest Tubb Record Shop. I've got everybody in Monroe waiting to hear Merle Kilgore, the tall Texan, sing. And so Ernest came out of the office. He said, wait a minute, that's right. I did say Merle Kilgore could be on the show. And he introduced himself to me, you know, and I was a nervous wreck then. He just calmed me down. He said, come on in the office, son. He said, what you gonna do? I said, my new record, More and More. He said, oh, yeah, I've heard that. And he hummed a little bit of it to me. And I said, man, he really does know that record.
When I first came here, Ernest would invite me over to sing on the Ernest Tubb Record Shop because he knew I needed the exposure. Even though we had records that began to sell, Ernest knew all about the business. He wanted to help people. He had a very fondness for creating talent that he knew that would last.
When we first came to Nashville, we'd go down and work the record shop program on Saturday nights with Ernest, and that really got, you know, all over the country, and it helped our record sales and helped us a great deal.
Ernest Tubb put me on the record shop for the first time, and I think he's put everybody that's ever come to Nashville on the 50,000 watt station before anybody ever did. I think he's done more for people than anybody has, but Ernest Tubb never did really get the credit for all the people he helped. He helped them all, and sometimes I get a little angry about that because he sure helped me.
All right, that's a good place to stop. We got a picture in New York City there, but on Loretta, and you know exactly why I did that. Because funRonni is Loretta's worldwide #1 fan, as I've said before. And this is just beautiful. So I love learning these things. I love seeing new names to me, but just seeing like the history of things. You know, of course, I've been in Nashville numbers of times, and And then I try to put things together, because now that I've got the channel for the last 9 years, it brings back memories of my time in Nashville, because I haven't been down there in about 10 years. So I'm due and I will be getting back down there pretty soon. And I'm pretty sure, but that's my intention. But this is all just beautiful to see, because that's my approach in life too. You got to look out for the little guy. And, the fact that Ernest was all about that is beautiful. So this is part 1 of 4. It goes in the documentary playlist. That's getting well populated now with a lot of artists and information about the history of country music. So check those out, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, you can thank funRonni for that one. Have a great day. I'll see you in another video, and keep rocking the country.
Playing and singing in the style of his idol Jimmie Rodgers became an obsession for the young Ernest, who was shattered when Rodgers died in 1933. There and then, Ernest decided that he would become the next Jimmie Rodgers.
The first time